bombed civilian populations there. Today, our military is risking their lives for men and for innocent women and children. And yet all we're told about on a daily basis, sir, is the criminalization of my friends, my brothers and sisters, or the victimization of my brothers and sisters. And I wasn't anesthetized when I joined the Army. I knew what I was doing. And I really regret that. I take great offense to someone telling me about all the things that Blackwater contractors are doing, or one rape per 500,000 troops in Iraq, and that is supposed to reflect on my generation. I disagree with your entire premise. I think that you're waiting for a miracle that's already happened, sir. And I think that when you look at the Diyala province and you look at Anbar province, in October of 2006, Anbar was lost. And then what happened in December of 2006? I mean, my goodness gracious, they're ready to have an arena football team out there. I mean, it's not a matter of what is happening in Anbar. It's totally transcended. I think we got it all wrong. I don't think as Baghdad went, Iraq went. I think Anbar province was the model. And I think it is today. And every inch of that was bought and paid for by blood. And I think that there are people down the street, sir, that no matter what you show them, evidence, statistics, newspaper columnists, nothing is going to change their mind. We are so polluted with partisan politics. It's on the left and the right. I'm not here as a member of the White House staff. I'm here as an American soldier. And I'm telling you that we're the good guys, and we're winning the freaking war, and we're going to win the war. And I still have people from the New York Times telling me I'm a liar. I'm a liar about everything I say. We're lying. I don't know what else to say. I'm saying that we're risking our lives for innocent people, and we're constantly told that we're the bad guys. And I just don't think that we can win that argument, you know?
I think Americans want to win provided they see a winning strategy. And I think they're seeing one. And the trouble, one story really troubled me recently, the whole story about this is the year with the most casualties. And it's true, fine. It's true that this year we've had the most American casualties in combat. But why is the story not the incredible decline in casualties that have occurred since May? Why is the story not the fact that we had 120 combat casualties a month in May, and today we have 23, and it's gone down since then? And that just happens to coincide with the fact that we've had surge forces in Baghdad. And it's happened to coincide with the fact that Anbar and other provinces have turned because American forces have provided security and Iraqis have stepped up. Why is that not the story? But the story you hear on the nightly news and the cover of the New York Times is that 2007 is the bloodiest year in Iraq. And you don't hear about the fact that we've made the necessary adjustments. We all recognize the fact that there was a strategy that was not succeeding, but at this point we've got one that is. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Bob Martinez. I'm a Vietnam vet, and I want to applaud you guys because the same thing that you're talking about is the same thing that happened to us when we came back. And, you know, basically, many of us were too incredulous to believe what we were hearing and what we were seeing, and just hurt, I think, and didn't speak up like you are. So just keep speaking up, because that's the only way you're going to turn it around, because you are the voice of authority, and thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit more about the Vets for Freedom. I know that there have been articles and books that each of you have written, and we know now that you've met with Senator Clinton. Mm-hmm. What are some of the other things Vets for Freedom is doing? Well,
Vets for Freedom, again, was started in 2005 by David and others, and it has grown since then. We just exist sort of twofold. One, to be a communications platform, to provide opportunities for veterans to tell their stories and talk about why it's important to complete the mission. Most recently, we've centered a lot of our attention on Capitol Hill, because we've got a president that's changed the strategy. We've got a general there that's implementing a strategy, but a lot of folks in Congress are impatient. They're eyeing some sort of special date in November of 2008 that they've got some skin in the game on. And we're up there to tell them, we were there, we believe in it, and we need to succeed. We brought 250 veterans up to Capitol Hill in September on the 17th and 18th to back up General Petraeus and say, you know what, we were there, we've seen this, and we brought them into the offices of everybody, Republican and Democrat, anybody that would meet with us, we would meet with. Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi wouldn't meet with us, but to their credit, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama did, and others did, and I think far too often our legislators hear from the code pinkers and the MoveOn.org folks that are screaming in their face, and they're telling them how horrible everything is, and rarely do they sit down face to face, eye to eye with a veteran that has seen it and understands the nuances and can explain it to them. And I think that interaction is more powerful than any protest or any other event that you're going to have out there. And that's what we exist to do, is to communicate and then put our guys in front of influential people and say, this is what we've seen and this is why I believe it's important. We're going to continue to do that, continue to just do everything we can to be a platform for veterans for these kind of, America needs to hear from these guys. And they don't need to hear from another reporter or another politician that's spinning them. They need to hear from a guy that understands it. And that's what we exist to do. I don't know, David, if you want to add anything.
I mean, all three of us here are members of Vets for Freedom, and my whole argument is that every time, it's an organization that, again, we have right now we've seen the second front of the global war on terror open up on stateside. And we've seen people that want to step up and they want to tell us their arguments of all the atrocities of war, and this is why their opinion has changed of the war. I'm going to tell you right now that war is the worst thing that I've ever experienced in my life. I think war is horrible, and I'm not a pro-war. I don't appreciate being called pro-war. At the same time, I understand the necessity of defending ourselves against people that want to kill our culture and our way of life. And so every time an individual wants to tell me about their 2 months in Iraq and the horrible things that they committed and all the crimes, and this is why they want to protest and scream at fathers that want to bury their sons at Arlington, I'm going to tell them, well, why don't you listen to an articulate man like Marco Martinez, who's a Navy Cross winner, who is going to sit there, and by the way, we're ambassadors of the mission, and we're also ambassadors of our service. And we're not going to act like a bunch of buffoons, because we need to hold ourselves accountable. And so when Marco is debating someone on television, we're not going to scream and holler and yell and act like fools. We're going to try not to. Sometimes it happens. There's nothing you can do about it. But go ahead, Marco.
I was curious. I know this is more about Iraq, but based upon what you've seen in Iraq, and not trying to politicize it in any way, but in terms of the way that Iran has been hyped up, the way it has been recently, I wanted to know what your feelings were on that.
Stuff that's coming in from Iran. Iran has an interest in ensuring that Iraq, that a stable country does not come out of Iraq, and they're fighting their war there. There's no doubt, and we can nobody wants to open up a third front on Iran. That's not what anybody's talking about. We do need to be honest about the fact that they have a stake in this fight. And they've been sending weapons and fighters and money over to kill our boys and our girls in Iraq and Afghanistan. They have.
And pretty brazenly, too. I mean, we're taking ID cards off them. Yeah. I mean, they have literally Iranian military ID cards that we're pulling off guys in southwest Iraq. So it's not like it's a clandestine Illuminati effort here. This is pretty in your face. And basically what they're doing is they're playing a Texas Hold'em game, and they're trying to bluff the American population to say, what are you going to do about it? You're impotent to do anything about it. Your foreign policy is being held hostage in Washington, D.C. And we'll just come across the border and just start killing your youth, and there's not a thing you're going to do about it. And you know what? They're right. There's not a thing we're going to do about it. We're going to sit here and debate and talk about how we should defend the Iraqi population from a threat that's violating their borders and killing their populations. But when push comes to shove, all that is going to do is fall on deaf ears.